Don't you just hate feeling like your life is not progressing forward in the way that you would like it to? That feeling where it's like you know exactly where you want to go, but you have no clue how you're going to get there. And this confusion will oftentimes leave you feeling like stuck with no direction for your life. And so as a result, you just continue to do the same old things that you've probably been doing for the past how many ever years, not necessarily because you want to do them, but no, just out of habit. And as a result, this leads us into a vicious cycle of just existing, a cycle where every day just feels the same. It's like you're just dragging along and barely making it through. And all of a sudden, the year is over just like that. And you may find yourself saying things like, wow, this year went by so fast. And there's you and I, having not accomplished anything meaningful in the past 365 days. I know that this is a very painful reality for many of us to face, but what's even more painful is that some of us have been doing this for years upon years. And believe me, I know the pain of just knowing deep down inside that you are not living up to your potential. So if any of that resonated with you at all, then stick around because this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips and things that I have done and I still continue to do to this day that help me to stay out of that vicious cycle that we just spoke about of just existing. And if we implement these tips and these strategies that I will be mentioning in today's video in our lives moving forward in this new year 2025, then it will increase our chances significantly of achieving our goals in this new year. So let's get right into it. And the first thing that we have to focus on, guys, is setting goals. So as you guys can see right behind me here is a whiteboard with my goals for 2025 written down. Writing down my goals has been absolutely essential to me not falling into that vicious cycle that we spoke about of just existing. And that's not to say that I don't still struggle with it. No, of course, I do still struggle to a certain extent. Writing down your goals increases your chances of succeeding significantly, especially when compared to those people who do not write their goals down. For example, there was a study done at the Dominican University that showed that students that wrote down their goals were 33% more likely to achieve those goals than those who did not write their goals down. And honestly, a sad reality is that many of you do not even have goals to begin with, let alone writing them down. And no, just because you are constantly thinking about something and it's constantly on your mind and it's bothering you, that does not make it a goal. It's still just a thought. Until you write it down, it is not a goal. And this is something that my mother, shout out to her, she instilled in me since a young age. I remember every time I would come to her, and express to her my dreams, aspirations, and my goals and the things that I wanted to do in life, the first thing that she would ask me is, did you write it down? And I'm honestly so grateful for this because ever since I have actually been implementing it, I have seen a tremendous difference with regards to my progress with getting closer to my goals compared to when I didn't write things down. So the first step to achieving goals, guys, is that we have to have a goal to begin with and we have to have it written down. That's step number one. If you do not have a goal written down, then your goals don't exist. And tip number two is something that we want to avoid, and that is setting too many goals. When we set too many goals, it actually lessens our chances of accomplishing anything. So as you can see on my board here, I only have 4 things written down. And that's not to say that I only have 4 goals for this year. No, I have many goals. However, these are the 4 main goals and everything else will fall underneath these goals. And honestly, this is a mistake that I used to fall into and that many people fall into when you first get into setting goals, because we get so excited, we get so hyped up about, having these goals, and then we just start going pen happy, right? We just start writing down a whole bunch of things, everything that we can think of that we would like to have in our life. We just start writing it down and saying, okay, these are my goals. But when you do this, soon after, you will realize that it's not a realistic approach to achieving your goals. Because at the end of the day, we are still humans with limitations. So now what we want to do instead is write a list of goals, right? Go pen happy, like we said. All of the things that you would love to accomplish in your life and that you want, write those down. You should have those things written down anyway. And ideally, what I like to do, and maybe it might benefit you, is I will write down things in 3 categories that I would like to accomplish: mind, body, and soul, or deen, dunya, and health. And then once we have a broad idea of the things that we would like to accomplish in our life, now we want to start to narrow this list down, because we're making goals specifically for this next upcoming year. It's only 12 months. Yes, we can do a lot in 12 months. However, we can't do every single thing in 12 months. So we need to narrow this down to make it more realistic. So my suggestion is that you narrow this list down to the 3 most important things that you would like to accomplish in this next year of 2025. Let it be 3 things that if you were to accomplish these things, you would be on top of the world. These are the most important things that you want to do. So me, for example, this year I want to get my ijaza in the Quran. I want to save $100,000, and I want to complete the Arabic school that I started going to a few years back, Lisan al-Arab, and receive the certification of completion from that program. So for example, in the end, your list may look something like, I want to have a 6-pack, I want to save $20,000, and I want to memorize 6 juz of the Quran. Now, the next step that we want to do is write them down in the present tense. As you can see on my board here, I have everything written down in the present tense as if I have it right now. So I have written down, I have ijaza in the Quran. I have $100,000 saved. And this is a method that I got from Brian Tracy. This will, inshallah, help you to create an identity around your goals. And inshallah will make you feel more connected to your goals, because you're speaking as if you already have them, as if you are already the person who possess these qualities or these things that you want to have, inshallah, that you will have in the future, as opposed to them just being something outside of you that you're constantly chasing. Because just think about the idea of when you're chasing something. You're chasing something 9 times out of 10 that's running away from you. And tip number 3, now we need to create sustainable systems surrounding our goals for this new year. Tip number 3 is all about action, guys. At the end of the day, we can write down everything. We can know exactly what we want. But if we don't take action, it will mean nothing in the end. So now that we have our goals written down, we've identified exactly where we want to be at the end of 2025. Now we have to create a practical plan and a system that we can implement on a daily or weekly basis that will ensure and guarantee that if we follow these steps, we will inevitably get closer to our goal as long as we follow it. Now, granted, this part is going to look very different from person to person, because at the end of the day, we're all unique. We all have different lifestyles, right? We all have different factors in our lives that, shape the way that we live day to day. However, the one thing that everybody needs to be focusing on when creating our system for ourselves is sustainability, because the last thing that we want to do is pile on a whole bunch of extra responsibilities and tasks to do on the day-to-day basis that at the end of the day we just won't be able to sustain over a long period of time. And this is one of the reasons why people who even implement all of these steps still may fail at the end, because the plan that they created for themselves was not realistic. So I would say that you want it to be sustainable. In a way that we can make these things sustainable for ourselves is to start out easy. Don't go too hard on yourself in the beginning, especially if you don't already have a habit of doing this. For example, if my goal is to have a 6-pack by the end of 2026, but I've never worked out a day in my life and I'm 300 plus pounds. It may not be the smartest thing for me to make a plan for myself to hit the gym for 2 hours, 7 days a week, all year 2025. No, that wouldn't be sustainable. It would be better for me to make a plan where, let's say, every day after work, I'll just go for a 10 to 15 minute walk. Or just make an intention to take the stairs whenever I can instead of taking the elevator. This is a more sustainable approach because it's easy. And if I'm a person who's never worked out a day in my life and I'm so many pounds overweight, I want to make this path to get into that goal as frictionless as possible. And over time, as you build consistency, you will naturally grow a greater capacity to do more. If you've been lifting the same amount of weight for the past month, you're going to get to a point in which that weight is going to become super light and you're naturally going to need something else to give you that same pump that you used to get in the beginning. So there's no point in overloading yourself in the beginning phase of trying to reach a certain target that you have. In the beginning, our main focus is on building that momentum and building that consistency. And number 4, guys, you have to constantly remind yourself of the goals that you set. We are all creatures of habit. And up until now, chances are that our habits have not been aligned with our desired goals and our desired outcomes. And naturally, humans, we forget things, right? We get caught up in our daily life and our daily tasks and responsibilities that it becomes easy for us to forget and lose sight of those things that we had set out to do. So we have to create a system in where we are going to be constantly reminded about our goals and the commitments that we set and that we made to ourselves for this year. And this is precisely why you guys see my whiteboard placed here where it is. You can't see, but my bed is right here to my left. This is my bedroom. This is where I sleep. So that means that every single day when I wake up, one of the first things that I see is my whiteboard here, huge whiteboard with my goals for 2025 written on it. So every single morning, I literally get a reminder of why I need to keep going. And you guys can do this in all type of ways. I just decided to put the whiteboard, in here in front of my bed. But there's many different ways that you can remind yourself of your goals. For example, we all have smartphones. We literally have apps. You can literally set reminders for yourself in your phone and use whatever type of app you want to, right? You can change your wallpaper on your phone. You can create a vision board and hang it up in your room. And that's up to you to decide what it is that you are going to do to help remind you of your goals when we slip, because you will slip. Indeed, we all slip. There's no such thing as a person who never ever makes a mistake and they're always on point 100%. That person does not exist. So we all will have those moments throughout our journey where we slip back into old habits, right? Where we start to fall short. But we need to always remember, it's about how fast you can pull yourself out of that negative state and get right back on your goals. And having constant reminders can be a means of helping you to get back on track faster. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope that you found it beneficial. If you did, then please like it and share it to somebody who you think needs to hear this video. And before you go, please, I want you to drop a comment down below telling me your 3 main goals for 2025. I'm excited to hear what you guys, have on your list of things to accomplish. And thanks for watching this video. Inshallah, I will see you guys on the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.